When it comes to our remaining admirals, there are two routes where Oda can take their characters. The first is to simply have the Straw Hats fight the admirals as a warm-up before they take on the Gorosei. Luffy vs Akainu is a no-brainer, and if we finally get that high-speed, yellow-themed kicking match of Sanji vs Kizaru that was teased in Egghead, I'll humbly convert to the Sanji agenda. If Fujitora does end up switching sides, then I can imagine Zoro vs Green Bull playing out. Green Bull isn't as hype of a fighter as Kizaru, but he does have a sword, which some people actually think is a black blade. Either way, I believe that Zoro will be the strongest swordsman by this point in the final war, so this fight will be more like a Hyozo or Pika difficulty rather than a King or Kaku difficulty fight, which I think is reserved for Zoro's bigger fights, like against Mihawk or Venus Juro. The other route that Oda can go with the current admirals is to have them all be defeated or defect by the time that the final war comes around, and have the Straw Hats save their strength for the Gorosei. Out of the 5 admirals that we've gotten so far, the 2 extremes in terms of ideology were the 2 that were drafted during the time skip, Green Bull and Fujitora. With Fujitora staunchly against the world government, and Green Bull who's arguably more extreme than Akainu, as he's a devout believer in the Celestial Dragon's rule. Looking back, it's pretty weird that Fujitora and Green Bull seem to get along in their first introduction, despite the fact that they have polar opposite values, and they even end up fighting each other later on during the Reverie, when Fujitora helps slaves escape with the revolutionaries. Although I think Fujitora vs Akainu will be the main ideological conflict in the Civil War, there are several other characters who will be a better matchup against Akainu in a fight. So I suspect that Green Bull's character was either initially created or retconned for the sole purpose of being Fujitora's foil and enemy in this final war.